We now come to part 3 in our effort to understand the dynamics of society. And I want to talk to you today about the role of the family, the critical role of the family in shaping the character of society. It is the family, not government programs. It is the family that truly sets out society's ability to understand, to respond to have affection for society's needs, and it's the way it develops. It's something that starts at an early age. It's very personal, not something quite that programs run by governments and also even sometimes by private companies and organizations can achieve. Because family does two things. First of all, it creates a sense of security, personal security about the larger world and society and its doings. That sense of nurture, that sense of being loved and feeling safe is so important in an early person's development. And secondly, in a very important way, it instructs the young people how to fit usefully into society, to find a role that is of value to the rest of society. They have to be trained and instructed in something we call an occupation, a trade, a profession, where they will find real value to bring to society, and society will value them. If that personal instruction is not there, great harm will come both psychologically and materially to an individual and to a society if that's a general and widespread problem in that society. I speak from personal experience because for 4.5 years, I did street ministry. I conducted a street ministry in inner city Trenton among the homeless, the street people. And I learned these aren't evil people. They just are not equipped to do adult. And the answer is why is very simple. They were not raised within any particular family system. They did not know their fathers. Their mothers were on welfare, and unfortunately, an awful lot of that welfare money went simply to the pleasures of overspending food and drink and drugs. And furthermore, as adults, they had no useful role in society. They were sort of sperm donors for welfare women, allowing them to get pregnant and increase their welfare payments, but they themselves had no role whatsoever in bringing up the offspring. They were people with no worth in society, and they knew that. It was heartbreaking. I lived and worked among them for 4.5 years. And I realized I was not able to retrain them at this point, only give them some place of security, the only place of security that I know of that they could come to and feel safe. And so that's what we did. We just met, we talked, we did some Bible study. I listened to them, something that the political system never bothered to do, and showed them that they have value, but there really wasn't an awful lot I could do to get them prepared to go back out. I followed upon a program that the church where I was working with 2 Princeton churches had tried before me, which was to see if they couldn't find jobs and apartments for these street people. That's when I came upon the program myself, realized it's a nice idea, I guess, but it's not going to work because I've worked with these people already back in Mobile, Alabama. They're not going to know that you have to show up for work every day at the same time, and you can't just knock off because you're not feeling up to it. They don't understand that you have to pay the utility bills and the rent. They don't know how to do adult. It's not because they're evil. They just were never instructed, never given any formation that would allow them to do useful adult life. They were, as they told me themselves, very good at working cons, sometimes against me even, and that was kind of humorous at times. And I tried to be wise in how I helped them, sometimes monetarily, but I realized that their only approach to life was working a con. They had no other skills, and that was tragic. I'm not sure what can be done, except it sure upsets me to see the federal government messing with America's families. The Supreme Court decision to undo the highly defended by congressional vote Defense of Marriage Act, because 5 of the 9 decided that the family was not, as it was been traditionally structured, proper, and that somehow the family should be broadened in its definition to include almost any kind of behavior. Well, the law didn't outlaw other types of formations. It just simply set the family up between a husband and a wife as the standard. And now the Supreme Court has not only knocked that down, but other federal judges have gone on to punish anybody who doesn't get in the line, who still insists on the old way that a family is rightly and necessarily a union of a man and a woman. How dare they? And they get huge fines for disagreeing with this. And I will talk about what I call judicial tyranny later. But my point is, folks, if all of the stuff we see going on is really itself simply a sign that young people are being brought into life without any understanding of the real responsibilities, the sacrifices, and no particular affection, we can see that, for the larger social system. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're confused, they're bitter, and they will burn the system down if they need to be in that anger. I learned doing prison ministry over many years that putting them in jail doesn't help. If anything, they learn worse social habits there. Well, something that I always remember did work fairly well, but we don't seem to do that anymore, was give people who are headed for jail the option, instead of joining the Army, where you come under intense discipline. But I must say one thing about military service. It does bring you back into proper social order. For one thing, you learn affection for those you serve with in a very close way. This is much better than gang unity, which is you get in the neighborhood streets. You actually learn sacrificial service to larger society. And in general, people who have served in the military come out very conservative in their love for their country. They've served the flag, they've served the nation, and sometimes bravely so in the face of an enemy. But folks, how much better it is if this starts in an early age of loving but disciplining nurture, preparing young people to step into adulthood. And only moms and dads are well equipped to do that. Folks, we've got to get the family system back as front and center to everything that America stands for. Generations of families brought America to greatness. And if we lose that touch, if we lose that understanding of the vital importance of the American family, and have to look to what? Government? Federal judges to define for us how we are to live? We're no better than socialist systems run by enlightened individual Marxist leaders and other inspired leaders, and I will talk a lot about that and how that's been so problematic. Folks, we're a democracy, and democracies are built at the grassroots, and the grassroots are developed by the family. So folks, let's fight to restore the central place in American life, the American family. This is Miles Hodges, trying to bring some wisdom to America's social performance and actions. Have a good day.